I have such a cool treat for you today. This is one you probably never thought you had interest in, but guess what? A really fun guest today. Margaret Pasquesi is with me. She is a thanatologist. Get this, a musical thanatologist. So what's a thanatologist, you ask? Well, it's someone who studies death, dying, and bereavement, the psychological, social, spiritual, and cultural dimensions of the end of life experience. They cover areas like grief counseling and bereavement, hospice and palliative. You see why I have interest. Death education, trauma and loss, and the ethics around end-of-life decisions. So a musical thanatologist is a specially trained practitioner who uses live music, typically voice and harp, which is exactly what Margaret uses, as a form of comfort care for people who are dying and sometimes for their families. It's not performance, it's prescriptive, meaning it's improvised and responsive to the patient's breathing, restlessness, or state of consciousness in real time. It's intended to ease the physical, the emotional, and the spiritual distress at end of life. And many people relate that it helps them transition more carefully. Margaret has a really cool background as a cantor and a soloist. She's worked as a cantor in the Roman Catholic tradition and as a soloist in a wide variety of spiritual settings, including church services, funerals, and weddings. And she's been on numerous TV shows. She is a delight to speak with and really interesting. I think you're going to learn some things that you didn't even know that you want to know. Thank you for joining us today. Let's get to it.
Welcome to my realm. I'm Tami Jorden, and this is Butterfly Days, the podcast that proves you're not past your prime, you're living in it right now, because women don't have expiration dates. Butterfly Days is a celebration of the extraordinary potential of Gen X and Boomer women. Throughout history, women have shared wisdom to uplift and empower one another, and you're about to learn hard-earned wisdom and best-kept secrets from interesting, inspiring women. So if you're ready to embrace your butterfly season with confidence, find joy in the present, and create a legacy that matters, you're in the right place. No more holding back. Let's spread our wings now. Here we go.
Welcome to my realm. This is Tami Jorden, and you're listening to Butterfly Days. Today, my guest is amazing. Can't wait for you to hear from her. Her name is Margaret Pasquesi, and she is, get ready, a musical thanatologist. Did I say it right?
Music-Thanatologist. Yep.
Music-Thanatologist. Okay, we're all going to have it by the end of the episode because this is crazy interesting. Tell us what a music-thanatologist is, please, ma'am.
So a music-thanatologist is someone who has become certified with the Music-Thanatology Association International after training, and it's using music by the bedside as pain relief. It's live music. It uses harp and voice.
That's beautiful. So my understanding is that your background is in harp and voice, and that you also sing as a cantor. Tell us about that before we begin the other part. That's beautiful.
So yeah, not all music thanatologists are cantors. So I did not play harp. I was like, a little punk rock kid, and I was in these
I love this
rock bands, and yeah. And I had learned bass while in electric bass my last 2 years of college, and played terribly.
As many thanatologists do.
Right. As many music thanatologists. No, actually, the cool thing about music thanatology is people come from a lot of different backgrounds, right? So in my class alone, we had somebody who was from Wall Street. We had several nurses. Let's see. A psychologist. Anyway, people just come from and people come from all over the world, which is another thing. Like we've had people who came to train from Australia, from Japan. I mean, yeah, it's this.
That's extraordinary.
I know, it's this weird calling thing. And so when I had that people ask me like, why didn't you choose something else? Like, why this specific thing? And it was because I had an experience of a music thanatologist specifically helping a friend of my family's, who is my older sister's best friend, die. We hired someone that was already in the area where she lived, and so we flew someone out who came, played music vigils, and she, the music thanatologist, played music vigils, is what they're called.
Yeah.
Sunday for her. She left Monday morning, and then my sister's best friend died that night. So it was, I didn't think about anything else, like any other possibilities. I just was like, what is this? The idea of music being able to affect the body, alleviate pain. I was like, I want more of that.
I love that. I love that. And I've sat vigil with a lot of people, but never where, well, I should sort of qualify that. I have been, when I volunteered at Children's Hospital Colorado, I volunteered in the NICU, and a couple of times I had people who came into the NICU and played harp. So that was extraordinary. And I got to tell you, the babies are big harp fans, as best I could tell. At least NICU babies.
Well, okay, so let me explain about the harp.
Please.
This, little punk rock bassist singer was like, what? Like harp?
What?
Like, it didn't even register. So I first saw it. I was in grad school and really knew that I needed to do a shift from these alternative rock bands, but wasn't sure what I was supposed to be doing. Though I had read a book, and the name of the book has been escaping me because, we're just women.
Yeah.
And we forget things. But I remember that there was a title, there was a chapter in the book called Making Art as If the World Mattered. And I love that. And so the idea was postmodernism, right? Where
yes,
your Warhol or whatever, right?
Right.
Postmodernism takes away the ego, and it's no longer about the artist. It's about your good
service.
It's about service. Like basically art kind of as doing social change. And I'm so moved by that. And I got into this, I started doing these, it's art school, right? So I started doing these small performances for like individual people, and they weren't even performances. Like I would just sing to them because I didn't play harp at the time, and like look in their eyes, and people would weep. So then I started testing it. I did it with recordings, and people were not as moved by a recording of the exact same piece of music as they were live. So to go back to the harp, what happens is you have all this wood. So you can do an electronic keyboard, but when music is transmitted, sound is transmitted electronically, something happens to the sound wave. You don't have a perfectly smooth sound wave. So you can do experiments with this where you take like an oscilloscope, right? And you can play, let's say, like a trumpet into them, right? You'll get the note, but it'll be like a splat.
Yeah.
When you do the harp, it's like a perfect sine wave. And it's not the pedal harp, it's a lever harp. So it's a concert instrument. So for example, even this hospital that I worked for, they would have musicians come and play in the hallways for the staff. And they all said, they're like, oh my gosh, the cello is too loud. There's a cellist. They're like, it's too loud. So I had to put a mute
on the cello.
String instrument. So if you can imagine, it's because it's a concert instrument. So in a room, even though you can I just listened to some beautiful cello music today, and there's something so luscious about, the bowing and sustained tones, but at the bedside, it's a lot. Fragile. Right. So even a big harp, in the NICU, it's for all the babies. But then there's something really profound that happens when I play just to you. And so I'm on the certification team. We just certified some new music thanatologists. I got to be in Portland doing that, and I loved it. And one of the things, they have to, we have standards and competencies and ethics, and they have to show that they can integrate all of these things. And so we have them play for us because they have to do harp and voice, but then they have to have the connection with the patient. So one of us would be the patient, right? And you could feel it as the patient, and even the observer would be like, whoa, when the candidate connected with my breath. And that gets a little complicated because you're not 12 beats a minute. You're creating a musical field. You have to sustain a musical field that doesn't drop while also focusing right on that person.
Yes.
And when they do it, when they sync with my breath, and the experience is like being grounded, like your body is grounded to the floor or whatever you're laying on, but then your mind is able to wander freely. It is such an experience of, because
that's extraordinary,
right? As a death doula, you've seen this. People have to come back into their bodies. We want to manage their physical pain, the emotional pain, because they need to kind of gather themselves in order to leave. In order to.
I think that's right.
Yeah, there's a term in Christianity where they talk about the idea of so in Christian thought, right? Jesus, this person, Jesus is God, right? And so they talk about God becoming man, and that's called the
made flesh, right?
It's the incarnation. And so I wrote this paper. This was my paper in the School of Music-Thanatology was. Someone has to incarnate, and the music can help them incarnate in order to excarnate, in order to leave. You have to come unto yourself. Music-Thanatology is not a Christian thing,
No, but I see where you were using the concept for your,
but no, we see people, atheists. Atheists are the best, right? Because life is so important because this is the only one you have, right? And about doing good works. A lot of atheists are like, I need to make this is all there is. So I
want to make this good.
Mary Oliver poem about what are you going to do with your
what will you do with your one wild life? Yep.
Because you got to do something with it, because this could be it. So
this could be it.
This could be it. So
that's crazy beautiful. So you ended up in the program in Portland. Do you want to tell about where you went to school in case anyone has interest?
Yes. So I just have to clarify. I've been doing this for, I started school in the fall of 2000, and it was a 2-year program that I did after I got my master's, right? Okay. So then I became a certified music thanatologist. And in that 2-year program, when I went to it, it was in Missoula, Montana. It was part of it was a palliative care program. So it was really integrated into the whole city. People knew that the harps would be coming if you were dying, and which is really amazing. So
that is amazing.
And so the professional association was created in Oregon, and that's where it's housed, and that's where we tend to have when we do certifications, people go out there. But yes, there is now an institute called the Music-Thanatology Institute. Yes.
Perfect.
If somebody wants to just find out more information, they are accepting applications.
And I will put the link on my page. So if people have interest, this is a marvelous program to do really interesting work. So you receive this training. How do you start work, or where do you find yourself after this?
Well, let me just say about the school. So it's not just music. You're not just learning to make pretty music by the bedside. So it's medical. Our competencies are medical, clinical, right? Professional.
Wow.
Physical, spiritual, psychological. So there's all these different streams that come together. you're working with a hospice team. People are hired by hospitals. So you have to be able to speak the language of everyone.
Yes.
What's happening with how different disease processes manifest at end of life. And you have to understand the pain management, because the music is not a replacement, right?
Yeah.
We work
if only.
Yeah. But if somebody is just getting medication for the first, or they're having pain issues, when they get the medication, the music can really fill in the gap between when the medication is given and when it kicks.
Yeah.
Right. So for example, there was somebody that I saw in their home not that long ago, and the family really wanted, people have a lot of misconceptions, as you know, about the dying process, about medication.
End of life, yeah.
They're worried if I start giving medication that the person is just going to die. So we can come in and people will be agitated, even if they have hospice, right? The family can maybe not be giving medication because in this case, there were family members that were coming and they wanted her to be awake.
To still be, yeah. Bless their heart. Yeah.
I know, right? Just because somebody's moving. So how I explain it to the family, and I think, that's why hospice is this great interdisciplinary team. When the nurse is reinforcing medication, but also the chaplain and the social worker and the death doula and the music-thanatologist are all saying, let's talk about the medication.
Let's talk about this. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'll even whip out some of these verified scales, right? Like, let's look at a respiratory distress observation scale. Here's what your mother is scoring on this verified scale. And they'll go, oh, so your mom is scoring a 5 on this, 10-point scale.
Yeah.
Which, if it's a 5, we need to be giving some medication, right?
She needs a
little something. And I said, think about it. Like, if you have a cold, because you can't cure a cold, but you treat the symptoms, which is what
symptoms.
If you can't cure the body, but
right.
We talked
this
about
is comfort.
Cure of body, cure of the soul, right? But you need to. So I have a cold. I'm restless. I can't sleep. If I take some medication that helps me and I get a good night's sleep, I actually feel better and can do better, even though we're not curing it. So in this circumstance, I stayed and I played. I was like, your mom's agitated here. So we did some of the obvious things, right? Like, she had a caregiver. We're like, why don't we change her? Why don't we make sure? So let's give her some medication. I'm going to play. And then we're going to wait about 20 minutes.
Let's assess then. Yeah.
Right. So we played for about 20 minutes. She was still restless. I'm like, okay, why don't we change her and turn her? Because the last time they had turned her, because you don't just need medication, right? Like, those basic things, the things we learned.
Yes.
You don't intubate someone, you just turn their head slightly down. And then they'll drain and they can breathe, like all these, there's all these little things that you don't do studies on, but we, being by the bedside, right, know that they anecdotal evidence. And it's not appropriate to do the gold standard. Evidence.
The whole thing. Yeah.
The whole thing. You can't have a control group when people are dying. So we need
immediate support on board. Yeah.
Right. So it's all anecdotal evidence. But we changed her, we turned her, gave her some more medication. I continued to play. And so then 20 minutes after all that, I'm like, well, why don't we do a little bit more? Because she's still having these moving. And her daughter had been trying to talk to her and she wasn't saying anything. She was just grunting. So we give the medication.
She's in pain. Yeah.
She finally starts to settle. And then her daughter says, Mom, how are you doing? And her mom's like, I'm doing better now. Like, went from not talking at all, right? Because people get guarded. They don't talk. They don't. So the pain medication can actually help people perk up, if you will, right?
Yeah, for sure.
It will help them let go, but the amounts that we give are so tiny.
Like
Tylenol to us, right? To somebody with cancer or that amount of pain,
sure,
receptors. There's not an amount we can really give that's available with, they fill the little syringes.
Yeah.
It's going to push somebody over the edge.
No, they're not going to dispense to you that kind that's going to put you over the edge. And I think you are right. There are people who are very concerned about that. My favorite are the people who are really stuck on, I don't want them to become an addict. Well, if they should live long enough to be an addict, that would be a different issue. But
right.
We're not in that part of the story. We're not in cure anymore. We're in comfort.
And we're in a limited amount of time, right?
Yes.
So that was the horrible thing with oxycodone, right? When it was being used for chronic pain.
Yes.
People did get hooked, and
Right.
that's not what it's used for. So now it's much better, right? We have physical therapy for everything. What are all these different ways that we can manage your inflammation around pain? But at life or surgery, I mean, it really is this amazing, miraculous tool that.
Yes. You don't want anyone chasing that pain. You want them to be slightly ahead of it so that they can be present, so you can then figure out what's the best strategy for them to interact with whoever they might need to.
Right. Yeah. It's so much education. So that's where the thanatological part comes in, right? I can speak the same language as the medical team. You
can show the pain scale, which is
right. I can talk about, let's look this up. We have our phones. Let's look this up. These are the kind of medication you have this on board. This Ativan, let's say. Ativan is for when your mom has that furrowed brow and is like plucking and taking off her blankets and, but let's say Roxanol, which is a derivative of morphine, is for when is having a hard time breathing.
Yeah.
Is rust. Like, here's the thing that we see a lot, right? When somebody's apneic, and when they're not breathing, they're so peaceful. And then they return to breath and they're like, and some people will give Ativan, but Ativan won't touch that. The return is
it's an opioid derivative. That's what helps. Sorry.
Right. Yes. It's breathing related,
Yes. And it doesn't make someone die sooner to use morphine, for instance. That they don't give you enough to just knock somebody out, but it can be tremendous in allowing someone to relax when they breathe. Because if you get stressed on your breathing, Margaret, that's so hard on people because they get frightened, they can't breathe. And then that builds on itself. It's better, let them have a little bit of the morphine, settle into that breathing, and now they can be present for whatever needs to happen next.
Right.
And you're so right.
If they die, really quickly from just relaxing, they were trying to die and weren't.
They were trying to die.
They were stuck, right? So it doesn't kill them. It's such, again, you would have to take a lot more than what they're going to give you. In a shot there. Yeah. I'm so glad that we're talking about this because I do think that there are people, I've had a number of people in my hospice work who are concerned about that. And God bless you because you're trying to take care of your person in a loving, kind way. That's good. But you really don't have to worry about if there's difficulty breathing. Morphine is a godsend. You're not going to end up with a terrible addiction issue. You're not going to take their life any sooner. Right.
It's actually helpful. So this helped get your lady patient stabilized and comfortable. Because that's what we want for our people at that point.
To talk and able to communicate. And so the poor daughter is probably like, oh, maybe we could have given this sooner. And she would have been comfortable talking to everybody.
Yes.
Right? So the normal thing, the way that I talk about it is like the normal thing when you're this sick and this frail is that you would be mostly resting. You would be somnolent for long periods of time. But when you're awake, right? And so when you're not, if you're in bed agitated, that is a symptom management issue. Right?
Yes.
So we were talking about the harp. So the harp is, you've got this beautiful sine wave, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in a small space, and it's also a polyphonic instrument. So like the cello, the violin is a flute, just plays a melody. sonic instrument would be like guitar, a piano, which is really hard, to get an actual piano, and it would be
yes, that's a toughie. Yeah.
You can do an electronic keyboard, but then again, the sine wave isn't
right.
clear. So you have all this wood that goes from the ground up, right?
Uh-huh.
You are plucking the strings and letting them ring. So you create the overtone series. Do you know about the overtone series?
No, it's not like, but I'm thinking that you get a full tone as opposed to
playing. Not only do you get that full sound, you then get the octave above, and then the fifth above that, and the fourth above that. So it's filling this room, so you can make a cathedral-like sound.
Oh, wow.
The whole wide soundboard in a really small space.
Oh.
That's so very gentle.
And right. Accessible.
Yeah. So I've had family members who are deaf, and people will be like, I put her hearing aids in. I'm like, no, take them out, right? She's going to feel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Body. And people who are deaf will be like, oh my gosh, I can feel, because, people feel sound. They can tell the car is coming because of the ground moving.
Yeah.
They're just more attuned to all that. So we have receptors all over our body that help us take in sound, and So now I'm convinced about the harp, but for a while there I was like, oh, I'm learning harp.
No, it's crazy beautiful. I love this. And so now the work that you're doing now, so we did mention you've also been a vocalist, you've been a cantor in Catholic tradition. Is that correct?
So again, I've always been this kind of, I don't know, when I was in junior high so I'm one of 10 children, right? My parents, very religious, went to mass every day. Took all of us with them. So we would always arrive 10 minutes late, and we're like slamming the pews down in the back of the church. And God, my poor parents, the poor community that I grew up in, really, feel really bad for them. And so very religious family. And of course, I rebelled. I'm child number 7. You have to kind of stand out.
Yeah.
So when I was in, 7th or 8th grade at this Catholic school, so many kids got into Michael Jackson. Like your audience will know.
Yeah.
So many people are into Michael Jackson.
We were all into Michael Jackson.
Yeah. Oh, not me, girl. Not me. I was into Prince. Little Red Corvette. I was into
Gotta say, he's my guy. I do love him.
Yeah.
I do love him.
Right. And then so not my oldest sister, but the third child was off at college when I was this age. And so she was a DJ at her school. So she would send tapes back to me that had New Order. This is like 1985, right? Tapes with New Order and all this great
music.
New wave from England.
Yeah.
It was so fun. So that became my trajectory. And there was a music director. Music directors were kind of new things. He was the first music director that I think we had ever had at the church I grew up in. And he trained me, this little weird kid with the short, I was already kind of going through
number 7,
very odd kid. He trained me to be a cantor. So the cantor was like the song leader, but you do everything. So you introduce the hymns, you get everyone singing, but then you sing all these mass parts, and you do some Gregorian chant, but it depends on the church. Some people, like the churches that I sing at now, a lot of them do a variety. Like some things in the service will be chant, but then they'll also do Christian rock. But then they'll also do the old, songs from the 80s, like on Eagles Way. Music, and then they'll do, they'll do hymns, and
this is extraordinary.
So those are my favorite, because that's really exciting music to me when there's a variety. So so my whole existence, even with my bleach blonde hair, in college, in art school, right? I would go to this church that I have to climb 3 sets of stairs in Chicago and sing, we would do improvisation. I loved that Jeffrey Wasson. May he rest in peace. He was such a great music director, and we would be up there and he'd be playing things on organ and we would be improvising on Gregorian.
Wow.
Amazing. It was so fun.
Yeah.
So I just kept that up. Like wherever I moved out west. I lived in Portland, Oregon. I just kept cantering. In Missoula, Montana, when I was there for school, I just kept cantering.
Yeah.
It was a great way to make money and
Yeah.
kind of keep spiritually fit. And I
Yeah.
really felt like I was on this journey.
Yeah.
I sang at their cathedral. Yeah.
I saw that at St. Francis. You have to know, I have a very special connection with Santa Fe. And I'm like, wait, if she ever comes back to Santa Fe, she has to tell me. I'm going to go meet her there.
Oh, I think it's the same woman because she's about our age. You might want to interview her.
Okay.
Carmen. She's
Okay.
She just started when we started. And so we had so much fun with her. She had just had So anyway, so we are, so I did that. And then when I moved back, I grew up in the Chicago area. And when I moved back here, I just started singing back at the church I grew up with. It's like a way to give back to them.
That's amazing.
And then I just kept other churches so now I sing at 5 different churches, pretty much every weekend, and only with Catholics, right? Everyone else, all the Protestants have like their 10 o'clock mass or their, whatever, their 10 o'clock church service. And I did a 7:30, a 9:30, an 11, and a 4 p.m. Yeah. So
that's amazing.
Yeah. So
that's amazing. But part of what's cool about this is that, and this is where, okay, maybe a lot of the women listening are maybe not going to have a thanatology experience. Now, you probably will have a hospice experience, so we will get back to that. But what I like about what you're telling me is that as a woman at over 50, you have found a way to use an extraordinarily interesting gift, not super common, and you have figured out how to plug it in to your real life in a way that seems really fulfilling and meaningful to you.
Well, I think that's the spiritual journey, if you will, right? So I did feel, so I'll just,
please.
I stopped drinking because things were really headed in not a great direction for me.
Yeah.
When I started grad school. And as part of that, I was learning how to discover something that would be meaningful to me, which wasn't necessarily what I grew up with. And this is no fault of the Catholic Church, right? It's how I interpreted. God was very real. Like if I found a penny, I was supposed to find the owner. I was very literal. And so I would pray for things and then they wouldn't happen. And so of course I appropriately was like, well, God doesn't exist then, right? So so that was a big thing for me for a long time. But when I was really surrendering into not drinking, I really was encouraged to create something, to find something, to maybe borrow something from someone else that would help me connect, to something,
to a higher power.
Yeah. Something greater than me. And so I was so in experimenting with that, I was trying to learn to be open-minded. And so I did. I talked to my parents, my dad in particular, about, because he meditated twice a day, as a very conservative Catholic. And I was like, tell me about this meditation. Tell me what it does for you. Tell me. And he loved that. Like we really bonded at that time because he loved sharing that part of his life. And so from thinking about God in this very black and white to really understanding, because my dad taught physics.
Wow.
So he would say, he's like, to him, you could use the scientific method, right? Like, like you don't have to it's not faith and science would go together, because what you can do with faith, whatever that is for you, right? Some people believe like faith is, well, I believe in all the tenets of this particular church, right? Like there's people who are more committed to the laws and the rules and then
the structure of it.
Like if I do this and this and this, that means I'm a good person. That thinking was never going to work for me. I'm a middle, I I got to do the middle path, right? It's the Buddhist middle path is if I'm on either side, I really struggle with what they now call moral OCD, right? That scrupulosity where I gotta do it just right. And so moral scrupulosity, now we're going on a tangent. But moral scrupulosity is so fascinating because it can encompass things you don't think it can encompass. So with the Me Too movement, right? Everyone was like, so we got into all these people being canceled.
Yep.
So part of that is this, like I saw it in my poor daughters, like I can't like this comic anymore or this musician anymore because of these things that they did, right? And really beating themselves up if they still liked it, or like we would have to have all these conversations where you're almost talking down. My one daughter and I joke about, what's the name? I don't know, Ferdinand or something. We've started calling this part of her that's like, no, things have to be like this. And we're like, okay, Ferdinand, Ferdinand's hungry, right? We get hangry.
Yeah.
We need to take Ferdinand to get Ferdinand some food and some gentleness. Like, that gentleness.
And purity tests are probably not going to provide long-term spiritual sustenance.
They create shame. And shame,
they create shame.
To me, is the death of the spiritual connection.
Amen.
So to watch her be like, I'd be like, no, just be gentle. Just hold Ferdinand and be like, okay, sweetheart. Like Ferdinand's a dog. Like Ferdinand's like this big dog, right? That goes, and starts eating shoes. And you're like, okay, Ferdinand is eating shoes. We need to feed Ferdinand. We need to like comfort Ferdinand and be like, it's okay, right? And it's okay for you to like this artist and appreciate what they gave to you at the time.
Yes.
It is okay that everything's okay, that there's not, and
people are complex.
Yes. But that's in direct contact. My dad would say, religion this is where we disagreed, is like, there's not relative theology. There's only this is this or that, right? But again, I can get into a shame spiral so quickly that I was like, I can't do that. And plus, working with the dying, you're going to see people of all stripes. And we used to joke that you can't cure the SOB with SOB, right? You can't cure the son of a bitch who has shortness of breath. Our job is there to change his life. We are there to care for him
in the moment,
in that moment at the end of life.
Yeah.
So
in that sacred moment.
So if I walk around going, well, you're a sinner and you didn't do this right and you didn't do that right. So even my daughter, who's, I think she's moved from being an atheist to now a devout agnostic, which is totally appropriate. I've been there, right? So she struggled with this concept of, is it okay to not know? Right. And there's been books written about that. Like, is it Tara Brach that has,
she's wonderful. Yeah.
Right. Like uncertainty is just a part of life. And can we tolerate that discomfort of not knowing?
Yeah.
So if you have this really strict view on what God is, for me, so even a vegan who is trying to save the world can be so rigid that it's almost an OCD kind of thing, as opposed to, I heard the best thing, there was a woman, I can't remember her name. Somebody on your podcast might know that quote and we'll put it in the chat, but it's something to the effect of, I don't turn away any meal made with love. So food, when I choose my own food, I'm vegan. But if you made me something with love, I am not that away.
That is truly understanding the larger view. When you're able to take blessing, see the holiness in any situation. And certainly by the time we are bedside with somebody, the judgments need to turn off quick, because it's not appropriate at bedside at the end of somebody's life to be coming in hot with judgment. That's
and the same thing
awful.
At a church, right? You guys, I don't. Protestants don't need me. to become a Jewish cantor, right? Well, I'd have to be Jewish, but I think I'd have to be Jewish. I'm not sure. But you
think you do too.
You're clergy. You go through like 10 years of school, right?
Yeah.
So it's a very different thing. Whereas the Catholics are like, we need you. We need someone who sings really well. We need somebody who can.
We need an army of singers.
People don't sing from the pews because everything was in Latin until the 50s, So to be able to really help people pray, and in the pews, there's social justice Catholics, there's very conservative Catholics. Like
a lot of,
I don't know. You're there. I'm there to help you pray. We have that in there. Right? Even if someone gives a homily I disagree with, that's always going to happen. So I just do what I want and I leave the rest. And I
just bring the blessing that's from me for this. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and they bless me right back because they're singing with me and they help me.
Yeah. Aww.
Yeah. So that's why it just I would throw it away. Like, I'm not going to sing at church. And then it would happen. And so that's what I feel like following the breadcrumbs of my life. I kept throwing the Catholic Church away and it kept coming back.
And it kept coming back.
Music-Thanatology, it's hard work. You're balancing these different things, the medical, the musical, because you're not playing songs. You're working with elements of music at the bedside to help that person, but you can't be practicing and you can't just be willy-nilly improvising. It really
it's not a performance. It's a prescription.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. We will analyze things about like, what are the prescriptive elements of this mode? What's the prescriptive element of a rising, an ascending melodic line? What are what's the prescription of an accidental? Like all these different ways to think about the body. And so so it has been hard. And I also married a music-thanatologist. So it's just like death all the time. So we joke that our kids, when they were babies, they were thanatolotots, and then they became
so good.
Yeah, now they're like thanatolotweens.
Thanatoloteens,
yeah. And when somebody does something, we like if you kind of goof something up, like, darn it, I goofed that up, and someone will always whisper, they'll be like, "You're a bad music-thanatologist," like. Bad music-thanatologist.
I love this.
Yeah, so my kids talk about death like it's nothing. Death, sex, money.
Well, so what's that you married a thanatologist? Like, I want to say what are the odds, but I'm kind of afraid of what the odds are on this question. Yeah. But how do you find work to ply your trade to do what means most to you? How does that work for you?
Well, so my husband.
How do you find patience? I think I'm saying.
Oh, patience. Okay. So, I think I was telling you about this book that has just come out about making meaning. It's the two guys that do Design Your Life from Stanford. They have one now about meaning making in life, where you're applying a design mentality. And I'm interested in reading that book. I really like their work.
Me too. I want to read that book as well.
Yeah. So okay, my dad, the physicist, you don't have to believe in God, right? But why not just try praying and see what happens? And I know a guy
I love that.
Who would say that. He'd be like, I don't believe in God, but when I pray, something changes in between my ears. And that is that cult. I feel like the spiritual practice, which I need. I know some people don't necessarily need that, but I think we all do, whether it's music or art or
nature, whatever. Yeah.
Cultivating awe and wonder in your life and understand my place as one of 8 billion people in the world, that I'm important, but I'm not important, right? It is a practice that I need to do. And it can be really hard when you've been led, right? I really felt like I was led to music-thanatology from, doing this work in graduate school, then seeing something on Dateline. And I never watched Dateline. Dateline was, even back in 1998, was sensationalist. And they were doing this piece on music-thanatology right before Christmas. And I was like, I was like, I memorized the URL back when URLs were new. I was like,
yes.
And it was from that we Jenny was dying, that we got Jenny, we got someone to come and play for Jenny, right? So it was crazy.
Yeah.
And then all the things that happened, because it was like there wasn't another class starting for like another year or something, to get me to Missoula, Montana, which was I had never thought about living there. And so to get there, and then I had to learn harp, and I was like, what? So the whole time it's been difficult.
Yeah.
But satisfying. And then my husband and I worked together for 17 years. We had the same jobs for the same hospice for 17 years. And now looking back,
amazing.
I don't know why I didn't murder you. Like, what? How were we able to do that? But we did. But
I love that.
I know. We did. I mean, there's great things about having someone that you can talk to about this stuff. But
yeah. You
know, this is a perfect example. If we were seeing someone together, so can you imagine having two harps? We would decide who was going to lead the vigil.
Right.
I don't know what they're going to do. So we just have to know how to follow them. So he would lead and would start doing things that I'd be like, there's no way. Like this, in my head, I'm like, this will never work. And I almost want to fight with him, like over the poor person. I'm like, what are you doing? And yet what he did and how he did it pretty consistently. I can't think off the top of my head of a vigil where I was like, yeah, dude, you're doing this wrong, right?
You totally screwed the vigil. Yeah.
Like, what am I thinking? Like, how powerful do I think he is? You know? So to watch that over and over and go, I do not know. There's not one right way.
Yeah.
And the world is big enough for all of us.
Yeah.
Our way into whatever it is. So I thought that
I love that
unique experience, but I've seen other people, doctors, nurses, social workers, anyone who's been working just in healthcare in general, but also hospice in particular, you know, emergency rooms in particular, people can get burned out. And so practice to me is one of care, of and I struggle with this. I will be prone to workaholism, as most women who are mothers or working mothers will.
And who are passionate about what they do.
Right. But you need to be passionate about, like I could not live without my CPA, right? Would I do numbers? No. But I'm so love the woman who's like, oh, man.
Yeah. God bless her. Yeah.
Right. Or Manny, your editor, right?
Right.
Like he must really like what he does, right? There's some satisfaction in that, right? So when we follow the breadcrumbs, many people throughout different things over the years have talked about this, but this guy, Ignatius of Loyola, who founded the Jesuits, right? 1,500,000 years ago. His thing, he does all this work on discernment. How do you discern spirits from, making a simple pros and cons list to you discern something because you've been, it's overwhelming. There's no way you can say no to it. Like sort of like me on Dateline. I was like, oh, it felt like I opened up and said, do this, But then there's the things where you're just like, okay, I'm really burned out. It's like with your kids, right? Burned out. This is really hard, but you can't give them back. And you want to give them back.
Even like if you did just for a minute want to give them back, you're not allowed to do that.
But you can do certain things. So what we did in our house is if you are not fit for human consumption, because you throw a tantrum, because believe it or not, people in their 40s can throw tantrums.
I've heard that.
Yes. So you had to take a timeout, and everyone could decide who needed a timeout. And your timeout would be based on your age. So if you were 5 and you lost your marbles, you'd be like, and it wasn't a punishment. It was like, hey, you need some
just space, man.
Time. Yeah. Go to your room. We didn't care if they read books. It wasn't punishment. It was just breathe and calm yourself down, then come back. Because what you have to say is important.
Yes.
I hear you through the yelling. So the same thing with one of us. If I was like, I'm going to lose it, I'd be like, all right, like, mommy, time out, and I'd go to the 45-minute time out or whatever. I had kids late.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? Whatever it was. And so those little breaks and doing those consistently there's something bad about having an entire day where nothing is planned. A good friend of mine who teaches meditation now, she just did this course with Tara Brach, and she'll say, you say, "Oh, sweetheart," like instead of shaming myself, like, why am I thinking this way? Why, if everyone just behaved, I would be happy. If we just had different people in office, we would be happy. And it's like, life is never like that. It's never like, it's going back.
It's never.
Oh, okay. Oh, sweetheart.
It's going to be okay. Yeah.
You're upset. You're scared right now.
Yeah.
What can we do to take care? What can we do?
Literally, the best thing that I've learned to say to myself in the last year is, we're going to be okay. We got this. Let's think about what we could do. Maybe how does this look different if we thought about it different, made space different. It's so beautiful how we can begin to manage each other. And I don't know if that's possible in earlier iterations of us, because I don't know. I personally don't understand the impact of hormonal influence, but I know this: most of the women that I speak with over 50 have moved into a place of reduced hormones, and somehow that has given them better understanding of and control over the moment, right? Where they can begin to think about calming themselves, and they can stop worrying quite as much about whatever the perceived, what somebody else was going to think about what's about to happen, or a choice you're about to make, or what you have done, whatever. But there's just more space. And in your case, part of what I love, which is something that really connects with what a lot of women are listening to, is you're looking at the empty nest in addition to the other things that, what will your life look like now? And the empty nest is a holy space. I would say it's a liminal space. It's a doorway often between spaces.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful gift of time. And we don't always say that to women so that they know, oh, okay. You earlier referenced that really great poem about, you don't need the answer now. Do you remember the one you're talking about? It was a poem that you said about it was something about you don't need the answer.
I said to my soul.
Yes.
My gosh, who is, I want to look this up. Because it's a famous poem.
Yeah. But it's perfect for liminal spaces in your life, such as
T.S. Eliot.
T.S. Eliot. Go ahead and share.
So I said to my soul, be still and wait without hope, for hope would be hope for the wrong thing. Wait without love, for love would be love of the wrong thing. There is yet faith. The faith and the love and the hope are all in the waiting.
Because that's where the wisdom is coming in. You're about to find out something beyond what you know or can imagine. And there is such beauty in that. And I think that's the truth of the empty nest, is that there is more coming in than what you imagine. It's okay to just wait and let life, the universe, God, however you like to think about that, show you the next iteration. How beautiful.
Well, I think what's hard about it, right, is this, and this goes back to, I found it, it's How to Live a Meaningful Life, and it's by Bill Burnett and Dave Evans. And they're the guys that did
the design guys.
Life. Yeah, they're the design guys. And they're, in the brief little interview that I heard with them, they were talking about subtraction, that we think so often that we have to add, right?
Mm.
In order to have the space to make meaning. Do you remember, okay, again, Gen X women, I bet everyone's going to remember that. The creativity book. that was such a big deal.
Yeah.
What's the name of it? The Artist's Way.
Julia Cameron. Yes.
Artist's
So
Way.
good.
And she did a lot of that, like the way to get in touch with your creative self was to do the, the brain dumping.
Yes.
Get it all out, and
journal.
So the journal, and then the taking yourself on an artist date where you go down to the museum or wherever you're going. And I do find, even so the black and white thinking, right, can say, I'm just so overwhelmed, nothing is going to fix this. But if I do something small, like when you were saying about being so tender with yourself, like, well, let's think about this a different way. I would say, take that even further, or maybe even further back, and to say, we're going to put this down. It's like putting a Sudoku puzzle down, and then you come back, you're like, oh, I see it now, right? So putting it down, like, I'm not getting anywhere. I'm hitting my head against the wall. I'm going to put this problem down or this overwhelm down, and I'm just going to go have dinner.
Yeah.
Get in the tub. I'm just going to cuddle my senior who's not going to be here.
Yeah.
Let's cuddle her. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna call my other daughters at college. I'm gonna talk to my husband. I'm gonna go for that walk, or but going for that walk, I feel like, or going to that exercise class or whatever it is. I can't put it down. It's like I can't put it down. The world will fall apart. But the more I get away from the world, even for a brief moment, and I'm reminded, like, oh, I don't have to fight. It's that Taoist idea of like, okay, you're fighting against the current of the river. You need to flow.
Let it flow. Yeah.
How can I flow? And sometimes it's as simple as I need to eat, and I will have a new perspective as soon as I put something in my mouth.
That is crazy how fast that can work.
Yes. Right?
Yeah. Well, and I have a friend who says spirit meets us at the point of action. And often we think action means I have to know the next right thing to do. Nope, actually you don't. You just need to do one small thing that needs to be done in front of you. And maybe that's make lunch. Maybe that's take a hot bath, take a walk in nature, meditate for 5 minutes, whatever. But yes, step aside and allow. And that's part of the power and the beauty of this midlife experience, is that we can get creative about figuring out how the next thing comes in, or the next moment of clarity comes to us. We don't have to have the vision all the way to the end, but maybe just a next moment of clarity, and the beauty of that. And I'm thinking about the power of how people can call you and you can come bedside at a moment that's also a liminal space. It's a threshold moment.
It is.
And what for people there are people who are listening to this and they're like, okay, but you didn't talk about what should I expect, or why is this, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Tell me, Mark, tell me about that. Yeah.
So it works a number of different ways, but in general, how my husband has practiced and how I practiced with him, and went to the hospital, and it worked in different places.
Sure.
I'm part of the interdisciplinary team. And I'll get called. You have to kind of train them. I want to be called so there's another scale called the palliative performance scale. That assesses, like you and I would be considered at 100%. We can we can feed ourselves, we can clothe ourselves, but as people become as people decline,
yes,
or gets less, they become 30%, 20%. It means you've probably got days to weeks, and 10% means you're actively dying, right? You've got hours to days. So that is the time in my practice that I love to come.
Yes.
Absolutely love to come. So what we would say, what he and I both say, is anyone can make a referral. Like even a family member can make a referral. And then we have to get the information about that patient from that particular team that has that patient. So there's specific questions like, what is your loved one's name? There's some people, there's friends who want referrals and the family's not interested. They're like, yeah, well-meaning person. No, right? Because it is weird. And we're okay with that. Like it does not offend me at all.
Right.
I do not want the harp. I get that it's weird. You have such little choice at the end of your life.
Yeah. If that's your choice, go for it. Yeah.
100%.
Right.
So I do not get offended. But I need to know the diagnosis. I need to know the reason for referral. Is it just that because I write down my reasons for referrals as part of the palliative care domains, right?
Yes.
Domains of care. So am I addressing a physical issue, a social, a spiritual issue, or most of the time, because
the combo
in the last hours, well, it's end of life. So another domain.
Yes.
Peaceful death with dignity. Right.
Yes.
So that is the most often the reason. So even if they're asymptomatic, it's a reason to go. And so I tell them they can have anyone they want there. The whole family can gather. I've seen patients alone. I've been in trailer homes with the entire home.
Everybody.
With everybody. And I like getting the little harp in there. I need to be able to, so when I arrive, right, I introduce myself to whomever. I let them know this is not a concert. If it was a concert, it would be a terrible concert. That what I do, and I'm not playing familiar music. I'm not requests. I'm not playing Amazing Grace. Because there's some thinking.
I'm not doing requests.
I'm not doing requests. Well, I mean. So some music thanatologists can, right? As I work with music all the time, I can figure out the chords to, most things.
Right.
Way.
Yeah, Stairway to Heaven. You could nail it.
I do an amazing Stairway to Heaven. Like on the harp, it's awesome because I can also rock
I suspected.
I have to change it to a girl key, but I can rock that thing. But I'm not, the point is that I'm not there with sheet music. Like I'm there focusing on the patient, and we want to get them out of their heads and back into their bodies.
Yes.
Like I'm trying to affect them physically and emotionally in a way that's new. And so if it's something that they know.
Oh, they're just going to follow the old pattern. Yeah.
Potentially. Right.
So interesting.
And I'm not saying familiar music is bad at all. Right. There are people who do music by the bedside that is 100% their thing. And it definitely has its place. It's just not the way that I was trained to do this.
Sure.
So I let them know it's not a concert. I make sure the room is set up so that everyone is around the patient and facing the patient. So they're not harp, right? They're facing the patient.
Yes.
So that there's Kleenex out because, I'm not going to stop to hand somebody Kleenex. So Kleenex is just there.
And I have the tissue ministry, so I'm super excited. I always notice when people need tissue. So God bless you that you've thought about that up front because it's going to be needed.
Well, and when you put it there in advance, they know it's okay. And you're not, sometimes when you hand somebody tissue, they can potentially feel like, oh, I'm not supposed to cry. I need to wipe away.
Yes.
And if there's going to be a big snot fest, we want that. I have been with people.
You just need tissue. Yep.
You need to just get it out. So, and then I let them know. So then I greet their loved one. I let them know I'm going to do this. And I call the person by name, whether or not respond to me. And
they can hear you. Go ahead.
So the effect of, whether or not they respond outwardly, which is
yes.
Right.
Yep.
So, so even small things, like if they raise their eyebrows when I greet them, I mark that in my charting. Right. If they,
that's huge.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'll just say,
at that point.
Yeah. So just like I'm Margaret, and believe it or not, I've brought a harp to play for you. Yes, I know that's weird. I'll say something like that.
Yeah.
Because that also puts the family at ease that we're not taking this too seriously. It's serious and it's important, but I think levity.
It's not pretentious, but we've moved in to serve. Yeah.
Well, and that is the right, you were talking about the liminality. Well, to get to real liminality, you have to have the rite of separation, right? With ritual, you have the rite of separate, you have, or everyday time, right?
Yes.
You have a rite of separation, and then you have the liminal time, but then you have to reincorporate, right? It can be really harsh if you don't reincorporate. So the rite of separation is getting everyone seated. And now I do my little introduction, and then I check their pulse rate, just the radial pulse with my fingertips.
Yeah.
It gives me a lot of information. And then I watch their breathing. I'll check their temperature just with their forehead, just with my hand. And then I usually make a joke, something along the lines of, when you hear the harp music, that's me, you know? And so then I go, sometimes I start to sing right by their bedside, depending on what's going on. Then I'll just move to the harp, and then I begin to play. And so it's a nonverbal medium for 20 minutes, 45 minutes. The longest ones can be like an hour and a half. That's usually if somebody really starts to shift and starts to die.
Right. You're just going to write them out. Yeah.
People that are being extubated or coming off of pressors.
Yeah.
I want to stay with them until they either stabilize or die. So those are all, and so then when I'm done, right, I make it more obvious that we're coming back from this very brutal music, coming back. I might text with the music at the end, because a lot of times I'm just matching my voice with the harp, so there's some harmony, but I'm not necessarily saying words.
Right.
And so we'll come back with text, and then it's just quiet, and then I'll just start to talk to people like, thanks for letting me be here. Do you guys feel confident that you know what to expect as your loved one dies? And most of the time they're like, no. I'm like, okay. So based on this is where the thanatological stuff comes in. Based on their prognosis, not their prognosis, they're dying. Based on what their diagnosis is and the symptoms, here are a number of ways that their death might look like, right? And describe it.
Beautiful.
And so these are my favorite testimonials, like more than, oh, you have such a beautiful voice, My favorite testimonials are really when people are like, oh my gosh, you explained it so well that we knew when the dying was starting to happen, and we were able to get everyone who needed to be out of the room, and everyone who needed to be in the room.
Yes.
And we were able to be there. And that is my absolute
what a holy frickin' holy moment.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely human and absolutely holy at once, rather like a birth. If you've ever been present for when a baby enters, when a soul exits, it's similar. I am so struck by the love and the intention and the concern that you are bringing to families in this moment. And I think that there may be people who've listened to this and just did not realize how beautiful or how important it is. So if they want to find you, they can find you at margaretpasquesi.com. I will have that information in the show notes. Please go look at it. You'll easily be able to find it. Is there any other place that you would like them to look for you, or that they can find you, that you want to share?
Yeah. If they want more information about music-thanatology, they can go to the mtai.org, which is the Music-Thanatology Association International. They can also go to Accorda Music-Thanatology Institute if they're interested in finding out about the training. And then my husband has a TikTok. Just to help reach other people who might be.
Give me the link and I will put it on. I'll put it on this page. I'm happy to.
It's a weird handle. It's like @footleg or something, like whatever the handles are. I'm really bad with social media. I just have been so blessed to not have to need it. Most people can just contact me through my website. But
very good.
But if they want to see, because he actually does a lot of talking about things, if they want to see those shorter videos,
I'll put the link. I will get the link from you, and we will make sure that people have it if they want it. This is so beautiful.
Thanks for having me, Tami.
What an original, interesting, I think that you should be so inspiring to women who are thinking, I really want to do something. I have an unusual skill set. You have a unique skill set, and you have gotten to be able to be quiet and listen to your own heart and follow where it leads. And there are women listening to this right now that I want to encourage that this is your sign, that there are original, beautiful, and extraordinary ways that you can show up in life and serve over 50. And you may have thought that you were over 50, but you are so not. Look at Miss Margaret go. I listen to you and I'm so moved. And I know I add a lot of color into it because I do sit vigil with people and I do this kind of work. But I think all of us can hear the beauty and the deep, caring, compassionate intention that you bring to it. And I just want you to know, Margaret Pasquesi,
Pasquesi, you've said
Pasquesi, baby.
Pasquesi.
Margaret Pasquesi, baby.
Pasquesi.
I am rooting for you. I am so happy to know that you are out there in the Chicago area still. Is this correct? Yes.
Yeah, correct.
Blessing people that need you. What an extraordinary thing to know that women don't have expiration dates. Over 50, you can still be doing powerful, beautiful work. And I know from listening to you that this work is only going to increase and get differently beautiful for you in your empty nest chapter. And I want to speak blessing over you at this point for that. It's a beautiful chapter. And there's a lot of cool stuff that's ahead, and I'm excited for you. And thank you so much that you joined us today. You have a lovely heart, and I'm so very grateful that I got to know you.
I'm so grateful too. And I just want to tell all the women too, just really like that it doesn't have to look like this, right? It can look like your own heart knows. Your heart just needs to be attended to, right?
Yes,
How do we help each other attend to our hearts? And it could be, yes, I do all these church gigs, but like there's a local meditation group that I go to with these really powerful women, and finding your group of women that to support you, in your creativity, and it'll evolve. And again, it doesn't have to be big. Our power, as you know, as a doula, is in our presence and how we show.
It's in your presence. Yes.
And so sometimes that just means I need a little granola bar, right?
It's simple. Whatever it is.
Little attending myself so I can give
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. To care for yourself with as much love as you are for other people and in other outreaches that you may think are big or important or whatever. But you matter as much as anybody else. And when you take care of you in the truest way, you really are able to minister, to reach out, to compassionately respond to people in a way that will deeply fulfill you. I think
you can't give away what you don't have. And so it's just gentle taking care of yourself. Just so love on that woman over 50 because she's amazing.
Just love on her because she's amazing. Oh, bless you, Margaret. Thank you so much.
I'm so grateful you listened to this episode. I hope it was a real value to you. If there's a sister in your life who needs this message, please share it, just like women have done to lift each other up over the centuries and across cultures. Women lifting each other is so important. It's why I do this work. And to avoid FOMO and keep up leveling your own life, make sure you don't miss the next episode. You may be losing hormones, but your life has given you powerful perspective. And I believe you have something to give that no one else does, that the world needs. So remember, I'm rooting for you. Let's go.